So hey, tell me about the time you shot the Bill Gates wedding in Hawaii.
There's another example of the unexpected. I had just returned from Hawaii. I'd been there on vacation to see my daughter graduate from the University of Hawaii, and we'd gotten home, and I walked into the newspaper, into the office, and my boss said, "Oh, you're going back to where you came from." And I jokingly said, "Well, my mom's dead. What do you mean?" And they said, "We're going to send you to Hawaii to shoot Bill Gates' wedding." And I said, "Oh, do we have permission? Are they going to let us do it?" And they said, "No, we're just going to go." And I thought, oh great, this is going to be a lot of fun. And as it turned out, it was a lot of fun. It turned out to be real hectic, and they sent me to SeaTac and said, "We'll call you with the flight and the airline that you're going on." And it wasn't until I got to SeaTac that I found out that I was flying into Honolulu, and then would fly to Maui. And I said, "Where am I staying?" And they said, "Well, we'll get that all set up for you. We're working on it." And they did. When I got to Maui, there was I called, and they said, "Yeah, you're staying at this hotel, and little bitty place, a long ways from the beach. Not one of your classier places, but." And they said, "Well, you're going to go over to Lanai, and we have some people over there that you need to meet up with. They're going to meet you at the, you take a ferry across." And these people met us, and it turned out that they were native Hawaiians, and they were friends of a former PI reporter who worked for the one of the Honolulu papers, and she had set it up for us to talk to them and for them to show us around. And there still is, there's a contention in Hawaii over water, and on the island there was a battle going on over who had the rights to what fresh water was available, and the golf course wanted a lot of it, and these people thought the people should have water, and so we were sort of with the radicals, if you will, and they let us use their Jeep, and we drove around and scouted out things, and James Wallace was the reporter, and Wallace had a little bit of idea. He'd made a reservation at the golf course. I play golf, but it's really bad, and we went out to the golf course to find out about our tee time, and we were being followed by this guy in a Jeep. We went in, and we were told our tee time had been canceled, that we weren't going to be able to play golf. And I didn't realize it, but Bill Gates was down on whatever hole that is, was just outside of the building we were in, the trailer we were in, and they were playing golf at the time we were there. And these security people had set up a roadblock. They put a roadblock up for us as we were leaving. And the guy got out, and he asked, and it came to the door. I was driving, and he came to the door, and he said, "Are you James Wallace?" I said, "No." Of course, James was sitting next to me, and he said, "You work for a newspaper?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "I work for the PI, Seattle Post Intelligencer," and he walked back to his car, and he proceeded to give us these notices that we were not allowed to trespass, we weren't allowed to come anywhere close to the place, and our names were typed in there. It wasn't like he had written it out. I mean, they were ready for us, and he wanted to know how we got on the island. And it turned out that they had set up a checkpoint, and they checked everybody coming off of the airplane that landed on the island. And if you were a member of the media, they turned you around and sent you back. You weren't allowed to come onto the island, the whole island. You weren't allowed to. This is a public airport. It seemed a little strange to us. And he wondered where we got the car, because they had not only canceled our room reservation and our tea time, but they'd also canceled our rental car because they had, quote, rented all the cars on the island. And because we were coming in through these folks who were not friendly with the powers to be, we had a car, and they were very upset. And they basically told us we weren't, and we said, well, isn't it a public, and they said, no, the golf. I said, but isn't it public around the edge of the golf course? I mean, in Hawaii, all the beaches are public. And they told us that they would not allow us anywhere near the wedding. And we had no idea where it was at or what was happening. So we went to the police station to talk to the police about it. And they were ready for us when we came in. And basically told us that we were not going to be able to, they obviously were not on our side. And it turned out we were the only media. It turned out that we were the only media on the island. They had successfully turned everybody around and kicked them off. But they couldn't kick us off the ferry because that was public transportation. And the ferry lands in a park, and they couldn't kick us out of the park, and they couldn't stop us from driving on the public roads. But if we got off the public road, we would be arrested. And we were informed that if we tried to approach, they would have roadblocks set up and we would be arrested. And we said, well, that's a public beach down below the golf course. How can that, I mean, that's a national park. How can they arrest us? And they said, well, you won't be allowed to proceed. And
I'm going to stop for 1 minute and
yep.
we'll pick up in a minute.